Shetty was an ordinary 18-year-old college student at Cass Business School in London, chasing the typical dream society promotes: academic success, a good career, and financial stability. He admired the accomplished speakers who came to his campus, often CEOs, celebrities, or entrepreneurs who had reached the pinnacle of worldly success. But everything changed one evening when a friend convinced him, almost against his will, to attend a lecture by a monk. Jay resisted, reluctant to trade an evening of fun for what he expected to be a dull, irrelevant talk. He finally agreed on the condition that they would head to a bar afterward. That night, Jay walked into the lecture hall with low expectations, but he left with a sense of awe that would transform his life forever. The monk on stage, Gauranga Das, was no ordinary man. He had a shaved head, wore simple saffron robes, and radiated calm and joy. Yet, beneath the serenity, there was an eloquence and charisma that captivated Jay. The monk spoke about values like selflessness and service. He described the idea of planting trees under whose shade you may never sit, a notion that stirred something deep within Jay. Here was a man who had walked away from a life of opportunity. He had attended the elite IIT Bombay, the MIT of India, to pursue a life of simplicity and devotion. To Jay, this was unthinkable. Growing up, success had always meant climbing the ladder of achievement, accumulating wealth, and earning admiration. Yet, here was someone who had deliberately chosen the opposite and seemed happier, more content, and more at peace than anyone Jay had ever met. After the lecture, Jay found himself pushing through the crowd to speak with Gauranga Das. He was so inspired that he asked, almost impulsively, how he could spend more time with him. This unexpected encounter marked the beginning of a profound shift in Jay's life. He realized that happiness and fulfillment could not be found in the external markers of success that society glorifies. Instead, they came from something deeper: a sense of purpose, clarity, and alignment with one's values. For the first time, he saw that the path he was on, one of chasing money, prestige, and approval, wasn't necessarily the path to happiness. Over the next 4 years, Jay began living a double life. On one side, he was a management student and an intern at a consulting firm, immersed in the corporate world. On the other, he spent his holidays and weekends in an ashram in India, sleeping on the floor, meditating for hours, and studying ancient texts under the guidance of monks. This dual existence helped him see the stark contrast between the two worlds. In the corporate environment, he noticed how stress, competition, and ego often dictated people's behavior. At the ashram, he experienced a profound sense of peace and purpose that came from living simply, serving others, and practicing mindfulness. Eventually, Jay made the bold decision to leave behind the conventional life he had been preparing for and dedicate himself fully to the monk path. For 3 years, he lived as a monk, immersing himself in meditation, service, and self-discovery. He learned that monks weren't born with extraordinary levels of discipline or serenity. They trained their minds to overcome distractions, fears, and ego-driven desires. They practiced letting go of the external influences that cloud judgment and cultivated clarity and intention in everything they did. Jay discovered that this monk mindset wasn't reserved for those living in isolation. It was a way of thinking and living that anyone could adopt to navigate the chaos of modern life. But Jay's journey didn't end in the ashram. After 3 years, his teacher Gauranga Das suggested that Jay could serve a greater purpose by leaving the monkhood and sharing what he had learned with the world. The idea of leaving was as daunting as joining had been, but Jay realized that the true test of the monk mindset was applying it in the real world. Could he maintain the peace, clarity, and purpose he had cultivated in the tranquil environment of the ashram while navigating the noise and distractions of modern life? This book is the result of Jay's journey to bring monk wisdom into everyday life. It is not about renouncing your possessions or retreating to the mountains. Instead, it offers practical tools and timeless principles to help you master your mind, overcome negativity, and create a life of meaning. Jay weaves together ancient teachings, personal stories, and modern science to show that anyone can think like a monk. The wisdom he shares isn't tied to a specific religion or culture. It's universal, grounded in values that resonate across time and geography. Jay introduces the concept of the monkey mind and the monk mind. The monkey mind is restless, impulsive, and easily distracted. It leaps from thought to thought, consumed by overthinking and negativity. The monk mind, on the other hand, is focused, intentional, and calm. It seeks clarity over chaos and meaning over momentary gratification. The goal of this book is to help you shift from the monkey mind to the monk mind, empowering you to navigate life with greater awareness and purpose. Through the book, Jay walks you through 3 stages of transformation. First, you'll learn to let go of distractions, fears, and external influences that cloud your judgment and disconnect you from your true self. Next, you'll focus on growth, reshaping your mindset and habits to align with your values and goals. Finally, you'll explore the joy of giving, discovering how service and gratitude can deepen your relationships and bring lasting fulfillment. Jay's message is clear. The monk mindset is not about perfection, nor is it reserved for monks. It's about progress, learning to train your mind, live intentionally, and find peace amidst the chaos of everyday life. By thinking like a monk, you can transform not only your own life but also the lives of those around you. To live with clarity and purpose, we must first strip away the distractions and external forces that pull us away from who we are. This process begins by examining the ways we define ourselves and the influences that shape our thoughts and actions. We often believe we are in control of our lives, but in reality, much of what we think and do is dictated by the expectations of others and by deeply ingrained habits. To reclaim our identity and align it with our values, we need to let go of the noise, negativity, and illusions that obscure our true selves. Jay introduces this section with a simple yet powerful metaphor from his monk training. He recalls a senior monk leading him to a storeroom filled with dust-covered artifacts. In the middle of the room stood a mirror so thick with dust that Jay couldn't see his reflection. The monk wiped the glass with his sleeve, clearing away the grime to reveal the reflection beneath. Your identity, the monk explained, is like this mirror. Over time, it becomes clouded with external influences, what others expect of you, societal pressures, and your own distractions. Only by clearing away the dust can you see who you truly are. This process of letting go is not easy. The dust on our mirrors represents the expectations of family, friends, and society. From a young age, we are told who we should be, what success looks like, how we should behave, and what we should prioritize. These voices are so pervasive that they often drown out our own. Jay refers to this as the looking-glass self, a term coined by sociologist Charles Horton Cooley. It describes how our identity becomes wrapped up in how we think others perceive us. For example, if you believe someone values wealth, you may chase financial success to earn their approval, even if it doesn't align with your own values. Jay shares a deeply personal story to illustrate this. During his final year of college, he made the life-changing decision to turn down lucrative job offers and become a monk. His family and friends were shocked. They couldn't understand why he would abandon a promising career to live in an ashram. Some called it a waste of his education. Others worried he had been brainwashed. These reactions were painful, but Jay had spent years reflecting on what truly mattered to him. He realized that the path society expected him to follow wasn't the path to fulfillment. By stepping away from external expectations, he was able to reconnect with his values of service and spiritual growth. Jay encourages readers to audit their own lives to identify the sources of their dust. Start by examining how you spend your time, energy, and money. Do your actions reflect what you claim to value? For instance, if you say family is your priority but spend most of your free time scrolling through social media, there's a disconnect. Similarly, if you value health but rarely exercise, your habits are not aligned with your values. This misalignment creates dissatisfaction because we are living according to someone else's blueprint rather than our own. Another layer of dust that obscures our identity is negativity. Jay learned this lesson during his monk training when his teacher assigned an unusual exercise. Keep track of every criticism, whether spoken or thought, and balance each one with 10 positive qualities about the person being criticized. At first, this task felt nearly impossible. Living in close quarters with other monks meant that small irritations, like someone taking too long in the shower or snoring loudly, could easily lead to judgment. But the exercise revealed a profound truth. Every person, including ourselves, is more good than bad. By focusing on others' positive qualities, we train ourselves to adopt a more compassionate perspective. Negativity, Jay explains, is pervasive in our lives. It shows up in gossip, complaints, and criticism. At one point during his corporate internship, Jay found himself surrounded by colleagues who thrived on tearing others down. They would gossip about coworkers' mistakes and spread negativity like wildfire. At first, Jay felt awkward and out of place, but he soon realized that he didn't have to participate. Instead of engaging, he redirected conversations to positive topics. This shift not only protected his peace of mind, but also made him someone others trusted because they knew he wouldn't gossip about them. Negativity doesn't just come from others, it also arises within us. The monkey mind, as Jay calls it, thrives on comparison and judgment. It jumps from thought to thought, amplifying fears and insecurities. For instance, when scrolling through social media, you might compare your life to the carefully curated images of others and feel inadequate. This internal negativity can be just as damaging as external influences. Jay suggests practical strategies for addressing both external and internal negativity. Start by limiting your exposure to negative people and situations. If certain relationships drain your energy, set boundaries to protect yourself. At the same time, cultivate gratitude and positivity within yourself. Instead of dwelling on what's wrong, focus on what's good in your life. Even small moments of gratitude, like appreciating a beautiful sunrise or a kind gesture, can shift your mindset. Letting go of negativity also means forgiving yourself and others. Jay shares how monks view forgiveness as an essential part of inner peace. Holding on to resentment only prolongs suffering. By letting go of grudges, we free ourselves from the emotional weight they carry. Ultimately, the process of letting go is about creating space to reflect, to reconnect with your values, and to grow. Jay emphasizes that this is not about renouncing everything or retreating from the world. It's about removing the clutter, both external and internal, that prevents you from seeing yourself clearly. When you strip away the noise and distractions, you can begin to live with intention, guided by your own values rather than the expectations of others. This is the foundation of the monk mindset, clearing the dust from the mirror of your identity to see your true self. By letting go of what doesn't serve you, you make room for clarity, purpose, and growth. Growth is the second step in transforming your life. Once you've stripped away the distractions and negativity clouding your identity, the path is clear to reshape your mindset and realign your life with intention. Growth isn't easy. It requires confronting the fears and habits that have kept you stuck. It's about cultivating resilience and consciously choosing to live a life guided by values. Shetty emphasizes that true growth happens not when we avoid challenges, but when we lean into them, allowing discomfort to sharpen and shape us. Fear is one of the greatest barriers to growth. It keeps us small, holding us back from taking risks or stepping into the unknown. Jay learned this lesson in the ashram, where one of the first teachings monks receive is to confront their fears head-on. He remembers the struggle of letting go of his material attachments when he first arrived at the ashram. Like many of us, Jay had always associated his possessions with his identity. His clothes, gadgets, and even his hairstyle had been expressions of who he was. But as a monk, he was asked to give it all up. At first, the thought was terrifying. Who would he be without these things? Yet, as he gradually released these attachments, he felt a profound sense of freedom. Letting go wasn't just about losing things, it was about losing the fear of losing them. Jay explains that fear often masquerades as practicality or comfort. We avoid pursuing our dreams because we fear failure or rejection. We cling to familiar routines because we're afraid of change. But the truth is, growth only happens when we step outside our comfort zone. He shares a powerful example from his own life. When he left the corporate world to become a monk, he faced intense fear not just of the unknown, but of the judgment of others. Yet, this decision ultimately led him to discover his purpose. Fear, he realized, is not a signal to stop but an invitation to grow. To overcome fear, Jay suggests reframing it as an opportunity. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What could I learn?" By shifting your mindset, Fear becomes less about the potential for loss and more about the potential for transformation. He also encourages readers to practice detachment not in the sense of indifference, but in the sense of letting go of the need to control outcomes. When you focus on the process rather than the result, fear loses its grip. For example, if you're afraid of starting a new project because it might not succeed, remind yourself that the act of starting is itself an achievement. Success is not the absence of fear but the courage to act despite it. Growth also requires setting clear intentions. Monks live intentionally, grounding their actions in values like compassion, gratitude, and service. Jay contrasts these higher values with lower values like greed, envy, and pride, which often drive our decisions without us realizing it. Higher values elevate us, bringing fulfillment and meaning, while lower values trap us in cycles of dissatisfaction. For instance, if you're chasing success because you want to impress others, you might achieve external validation but still feel empty inside. On the other hand, if your intention is to contribute meaningfully to the world, the success you achieve will feel deeply rewarding. Jay shares a story about his time in the ashram to illustrate this point. Every morning, the monks would begin their day by reflecting on their intentions. Before undertaking any task, they would ask themselves, "Why am I doing this? Is it for my own benefit or for the benefit of others?" This practice of self-inquiry helped them align their actions with their values. Jay recalls one monk who spent hours preparing meals for the entire community, not because he had to, but because he saw it as an act of service. His intention transformed a simple chore into a spiritual practice. In the modern world, we often act without reflecting on our intentions. We chase goals because they're expected of us or because they align with societal definitions of success. But without clear intentions, even our achievements can feel hollow. Jay urges readers to pause and reflect before making decisions. Ask yourself, what value is driving this choice? Is it a higher value like kindness or a lower value like ego? By aligning your actions with higher values, you not only make better decisions but also create a life that feels meaningful. Jay provides practical exercises to cultivate intentionality. One of these is the why ladder. Start with a goal you have, such as wanting a promotion at work, and ask yourself why you want it. If your answer is to earn more money, ask why money is important to you. Keep asking why until you uncover the deeper value behind your goal. Perhaps you'll realize that what you truly seek is security, freedom, or the ability to provide for your family. Understanding your why helps you act with clarity and purpose. Another example Jay shares is the importance of setting long-term intentions rather than being driven by short-term gratification. In the ashram, the monks were taught to focus on the bigger picture, whether it was in their meditation practice or their service to the community. This perspective helped them stay grounded and resist the distractions of immediate desires. For instance, when tempted by comfort or laziness, Jay reminded himself of his commitment to discipline and growth. Similarly, when faced with challenges, he found strength in his long-term vision of becoming the best version of himself. Jay emphasizes that growth is not about perfection. It's about progress. Monks are not immune to fear or distraction, but they train their minds to respond differently. They see every obstacle as an opportunity to learn and every failure as a step toward mastery. By adopting this mindset, you can transform your own life. Growth isn't something that happens to you, it's something you choose, moment by moment, with intention and courage. Through this process of embracing fear and setting intentional goals, you begin to grow into the person you were meant to be. Growth is not a destination but a journey, one that requires patience, reflection, and a willingness to face discomfort. As Jay says, when you know your purpose and align your actions with your values, fear loses its power. Growth becomes inevitable. Giving is the ultimate step in creating a fulfilling life. Once you've let go of distractions and grown into your values, the natural progression is to extend what you've gained to others. This isn't about grand gestures or dramatic sacrifices. It's about recognizing that true joy comes from service and gratitude. In serving others, we find meaning. In practicing gratitude, we anchor ourselves in a mindset of abundance rather than lack. These two principles, service and gratitude, form the foundation of a life that is not only purposeful but deeply rewarding. Shetty learned the transformative power of service during his years in the ashram. Monks dedicate their lives to serving others, whether through teaching, cooking, or simply offering a listening ear. One of Jay's most meaningful experiences was volunteering for a food program that distributed millions of meals daily to underprivileged communities. Initially, he saw it as just another task, something required of him as part of his monk duties. But over time, he realized that service was more than an obligation, it was an opportunity. Every meal he served became an act of love, a way to connect with others and contribute to their well-being. In the act of giving, Jay found a profound sense of fulfillment that no personal achievement could match. Service, Jay explains, is not just about helping others. It's also about growing as a person. When we give selflessly, we step outside our ego and expand our perspective. It's easy to get caught up in our own problems and desires, but serving others shifts our focus. It reminds us that we are part of something larger than ourselves. For example, when Jay worked on transforming an ashram in Mumbai into an eco-friendly retreat center, the physical labor was grueling, but the sense of purpose kept him motivated. The project wasn't about personal gain, it was about creating a space where others could find peace and spiritual growth. This sense of contribution gave the work meaning and made the effort worthwhile. In the modern world, service doesn't have to mean joining a food program or building an ashram. It can be as simple as showing kindness to those around you, whether it's listening to a friend in need or volunteering your time for a cause you care about. Jay emphasizes that service is not about the size of the act but the intention behind it. Even small gestures, like helping a neighbor or expressing gratitude to a coworker, can have a ripple effect. These acts of giving not only benefit others but also deepen our relationships and strengthen our sense of community. Jay shares an important insight. The key to meaningful service is giving without expecting anything in return. In today's world, we are often conditioned to think transactionally, what's in it for me? But true service is about giving for the sake of giving, without attachment to the outcome. When you give with this mindset, you create space for genuine connection and fulfillment. For instance, Jay recalls a time when he helped organize an event for hundreds of people. Despite the logistical challenges and the lack of personal recognition, he felt a deep sense of satisfaction knowing he had contributed to something larger than himself. This experience taught him that the joy of giving lies not in what you receive but in the act itself. Gratitude is closely intertwined with service. When we are grateful, we recognize the abundance in our lives and feel compelled to share it with others. Jay describes gratitude as a muscle that needs regular exercise. During his monk training, one of the daily practices was gratitude journaling. Each evening, the monks would reflect on their day and write down 3 things they were grateful for. At first, this seemed like a simple exercise, but over time, it transformed Jay's outlook. He began to notice the small blessings in his life, a kind word from a fellow monk, the beauty of the sunrise, the sense of peace that came from meditation. These moments, though seemingly insignificant, became sources of joy and resilience. Gratitude shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance. In a culture that constantly tells us we need more money, more success, more possessions, gratitude reminds us that we already have enough. Jay shares a story about a child monk teaching a group of 5-year-olds how to breathe. When Jay asked why they started with breathing, the child explained that our breath is the one thing that stays with us from birth to death. It's constant, yet we often take it for granted. Gratitude works the same way. When we pause to acknowledge the things we often overlook, our health, our relationships, the opportunities we have, we cultivate a sense of contentment and peace. Practicing gratitude doesn't mean ignoring life's challenges. It's about choosing to focus on what's good, even in difficult times. Jay recalls how, during one of the most stressful periods of his life, he leaned on gratitude to keep himself grounded. Instead of dwelling on the pressure and uncertainty, he reminded himself of the support he had from his mentors, the lessons he had learned, and the growth he was experiencing. This mindset didn't eliminate the challenges, but it gave him the strength to face them with resilience. Jay offers practical ways to incorporate gratitude into your daily life. One method is to start your day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. These don't have to be big or dramatic. They can be as simple as the comfort of your bed or the sound of birds outside your window. Another approach is to express gratitude to others. Write a thank you note, send a kind message, or simply tell someone how much you appreciate them. These acts of gratitude not only brighten someone else's day but also deepen your connection with them. The combination of service and gratitude creates a virtuous cycle. When we serve others, we feel grateful for the opportunity to contribute. When we practice gratitude, we feel inspired to give back. This cycle not only enriches our lives, but also creates a ripple effect that spreads positivity and connection. Jay explains that monks see service and gratitude as two sides of the same coin. Both are rooted in the understanding that we are all interconnected, and our actions have the power to uplift not only ourselves but also those around us. As Jay concludes, giving is not about perfection or self-sacrifice, it's about progress and purpose. By serving others and practicing gratitude, we create a life that is not only meaningful but also deeply fulfilling. True happiness, Jay reminds us, is not found in what we accumulate but in what we share. When we give freely and live gratefully, we unlock the joy that comes from living in alignment with our values. Meditation is not an escape from reality. It's a tool for engaging with it more deeply. Throughout the book, Shetty introduces meditation as a foundational practice for transforming your mind and your life. Drawing from his years of monk training, Jay emphasizes that meditation is not reserved for spiritual seekers or those living in isolation. It's a practice anyone can use to find clarity, balance, and purpose amidst the chaos of everyday life. Whether you're managing stress, working toward a goal, or seeking a deeper connection with yourself and others, meditation provides a pathway to greater awareness and fulfillment. Jay begins by demystifying meditation. Many people see it as something complex or intimidating, requiring hours of silence or a perfectly still mind. But monks approach meditation as a simple yet powerful exercise in presence. It's not about suppressing thoughts or achieving instant enlightenment. It's about cultivating a relationship with your mind. Jay shares a memorable story of his first day at the ashram, where he met a 10-year-old monk teaching a group of 5-year-olds how to breathe. Curious, Jay asked why they started with something as basic as breathing. The young monk replied, "Your breath is the only thing that stays with you from the moment you're born until the moment you die. When you learn to navigate and manage your breath, you can navigate any situation in life." This lesson stuck with Jay. Breath is the root of all emotion. When we're stressed, angry, or anxious, our breath changes, becoming shallow, rapid, or irregular. By learning to control our breath, we can influence how we respond to life's challenges. Breathwork, Jay explains, is the first type of meditation and is particularly effective for physical relaxation and balance. For instance, one simple technique involves deep, diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 counts, hold the breath for 4 counts, and exhale slowly for 6 counts. This practice calms the nervous system, reduces stress, and creates a sense of stillness, even in the midst of chaos. It's a reminder that no matter what's happening around you, your breath is always within your control. The second type of meditation Jay introduces is visualization, a practice focused on emotional healing and goal setting. Visualization involves using the mind's eye to imagine a specific outcome or scenario, allowing you to create a sense of intention and focus. In the ashram, monks often used visualization to connect with their higher purpose. For example, before beginning a task, they would close their eyes and picture how the work they were about to do would serve others or align with their values. This simple exercise helped them approach even mundane chores with a sense of meaning and intention. Jay explains how visualization can be applied to modern life. If you're preparing for a challenging meeting or presentation, take a moment to visualize yourself succeeding. Imagine how you want to feel confident, calm, and prepared, and let that image guide your actions. Visualization is also a powerful tool for emotional healing. If you're carrying pain or resentment, you can use this practice to imagine letting go of that weight, creating space for forgiveness and peace. Jay shares how, during his monk training, he would visualize sending love and kindness to someone he was struggling to connect with. This exercise not only softened his own heart but often transformed the relationship. The third type of meditation Jay highlights is chanting, which is used to connect with your deeper self and the universal energy around you. Chanting may seem unfamiliar or even uncomfortable at first, but monks use it as a form of sound meditation that helps focus the mind and purify emotions. The vibrations created by chanting resonate throughout the body, calming the mind and creating a sense of connection. Jay describes how, in the ashram, chanting wasn't just a ritual. It was a communal practice that brought the monks together and reminded them of their shared purpose. The repetitive sounds became a kind of anchor, drawing them back to the present moment and their higher intentions. Even if chanting doesn't resonate with you, the principle behind it can be adapted to your own practice. Listening to calming music, reciting affirmations, or simply humming a tune can create a similar effect, helping you tune into your inner self and the rhythm of life around you. What matters is not the specific method but the intention to connect with something greater than yourself. Jay emphasizes that meditation is not about achieving perfection. Your mind will wander, and distractions will arise. That's part of the process. The goal is not to eliminate thoughts but to observe them without judgment and gently bring your focus back to your breath, visualization, or sound. Each time you do this, you strengthen your ability to stay present and centered, even in challenging situations. To make meditation a habit, Jay suggests starting small. You don't need to meditate for hours each day. Even a few minutes can make a difference. Begin with just 5 minutes of focused breathing in the morning or before bed. As you become more comfortable, you can explore visualization or sound-based practices. The key is consistency. Like any skill, meditation requires regular practice to see results. Jay also encourages integrating mindfulness into your daily life. Meditation doesn't have to be confined to a specific time or place. It can be woven into everyday activities. For example, when you're eating, take a moment to savor each bite, noticing the flavors and textures. When you're walking, pay attention to the sensation of your feet on the ground and the rhythm of your breath. These small moments of awareness add up, creating a more mindful and intentional life. The power of meditation lies in its simplicity. It's not about escaping your thoughts but understanding and working with them. Through breathwork, visualization, and sound, you can train your mind to be more focused, calm, and resilient. Meditation is a gift you give to yourself, a way to reconnect with your inner peace and purpose. As Jay reminds us, the mind is like a muscle, and meditation is the exercise that strengthens it. With practice, you can learn to navigate life's challenges with clarity and compassion, creating a life that is not only peaceful but profoundly meaningful. Adopting the monk mindset isn't about renouncing the world or retreating into isolation. It's about mastering your mind to create a life of purpose, peace, and meaning, no matter where you are. Jay Shetty's journey from corporate intern to monk and back into the modern world demonstrates that ancient wisdom can thrive in today's chaotic reality. These principles aren't reserved for monks in ashrams. They're tools that anyone can use to bring clarity and fulfillment to their daily life. Jay shows us that the monk mindset begins with awareness, letting go of the noise and distractions that cloud our judgment. By clearing away external influences, we make space to discover who we truly are and what we value. Growth comes from confronting fears and aligning our actions with higher intentions, and giving completes the cycle by connecting us to others through service and gratitude. Each step is part of a transformative process that helps us navigate life with greater intention and compassion. In his own life, Jay practices these teachings in one of the busiest, most materialistic cities in the world, Los Angeles. There, he uses meditation, reflection, and purpose-driven action to stay grounded amidst distractions. He reminds us that it's not about avoiding challenges or emotions but learning how to respond to them with calm and clarity. His message is simple. Inner peace is not a destination. It's a daily practice, achievable through small, consistent efforts. By thinking like a monk, we learn to quiet the monkey mind, restless, reactive, and scattered, and cultivate the monk mind, calm, focused, and intentional. It's not about being perfect but about making progress, one decision, one breath, one act of service at a time. Through this process, we don't just transform ourselves. We elevate the world around us. Jay leaves us with a powerful question. How would a monk think about this? It's a simple prompt that invites us to pause, reflect, and act with purpose. When we live intentionally, guided by values and service, we find not only clarity and fulfillment but also the profound joy of aligning with the best version of ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Think Like a Monk by Shetty. If this inspired you to reflect, grow, or take action in your own life, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Let me know in the comments what resonated with you most, or how you plan to bring the monk mindset into your daily life. Remember, the smallest changes can lead to the greatest transformations. Until next time, take a breath, stay intentional, and keep striving for clarity and purpose. See you in the next video.